Fundamentally, for a successful coexistence in the human society, there is need to observe our limits and excesses. It is often said that where one man's rights ends is where another man's rights begins. This led to the establishment of the Human Rights Act and Commission in Nigeria. The National Human Rights Commission Amendment Act 2010 has conferred on the Commission additional independence and strengthened the Commission's power with respect to promotion and protection of human rights, investigation of alleged violation of human rights, and enforcement of decisions. The Amendment Act has also widened the scope of the Commission's mandate to include vetting of legislations at all levels to ensure their compliance with human rights norms. Specifically, the National Human Rights Commission is mandated to deal with all matters relating to the promotion and protection of human rights as guaranteed by the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, the United Nations Charter and the Universal Declaration on Human Rights, the International Convention on Civil and Political Rights, the International Convention on Elimination of All Forms of Racial Discrimination, the International Convention on Economic, Social, and Cultural Rights, the Convention on the Elimination of All Forms of Discrimination against Women, the Convention on the Rights of the Child, the African Charter on Human and People's Rights, and other international and regional instruments on human rights to which Nigeria is a party, among others. The Commission, like every other government agency and parastatal, is faced with numerous implementation challenges. This gave rise to the formation of National Human Rights Commission's Strategic Plan 2019 to 2022. The strategic plan seeks to strengthen the operations of the Commission in line with its expanded mandate enshrined in the National Human Rights Commission Amendment Act 2010 as the foremost national institution for the promotion and protection of all human rights guaranteed by the Constitution, other national laws, regional and international legal instruments on human rights. The National Human Rights Commission, through its strategic plan, focuses on 18 thematic areas to drive the operations of the Commission. These include children, education, environment, Niger Delta and development, food and shelter, freedom of expression and media, freedom of peaceful assembly, association, religion and belief, health, internally displaced persons, refugees, migrants, and asylum seekers, amongst others. But today we shall be looking at the rights of internally displaced persons, refugees, migrants, and asylum seekers. I am Lydia Odijochi. Good to have you join us today on the program. I'll see you in a moment.
It's new, it's fresh. It's all about policies and strategies. Watch out for NIPSS Policy TV programs on NTA News 24. Tune in on Mondays, Tuesdays, Fridays, and Saturdays, 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. on DSTV Channel 419, GoTV Channel 26, Star Times Channels 101 and 433, and Free TV Channel 703. Miss this and miss out on policies that will affect you and our country. Join us.
Welcome back. We will be looking at the level of implementation of the Strategic Action Plan through the mirror of the rights of the internally displaced persons, refugees, migrants, and asylum seekers in Nigeria, like I mentioned earlier. Also, it is important to note that the Commission's Instrument on Rapid Institutional Assessment, RIA, was developed by Bureau of Service Reform in 2017 to find out what hindered the Commission from effectively carrying out its functions and to make robust recommendations to address the challenges so far identified in the Commission. More than 6 years down the line, experts have questioned what the Commission is doing with respect to rights of internally displaced persons, refugees, migrants, and asylum seekers in the country. For instance, the U.S. Department of State Services once accused the civilian Joint Task Forces of Nigeria of sex trafficking in government-run IDP camps in 2021. This act breached the right of consent, which is a fundamental human right. This and many more issues are seeking clarification and need to be addressed. That is just what we intend to do here on the program today. To address this, we have a seasoned Nigerian and a professional in this field to provide answers to our questions. Let me welcome the Executive Secretary, National Human Rights Commission, Barrister Tony Ojukwu. Thank you for joining us, Barrister Tony Ojukwu, Executive Secretary, National Human Rights Commission. Thank you for finding time to join us.
Thank you very much, Lydia.
Now, first of all, do educate us on human rights in Nigeria generally. Is this an issue to contend with?
Well, Nigerians are human beings. And all human beings have human rights. All human rights are universal. They are inalienable. They are indivisible. They are interdependent. And of course, you know the Universal Declaration of Human Rights in 1948. You know also we have a constitution which provides for human rights provisions in Chapter 2 and Chapter 4 of the Constitution. And some of these rights, you know, are things like right to life, you know, right to fair hearing, right to freedom from discrimination, right to religion, right to associate, freedom of movement, you know, and you have a right to food, you have a right to life, you have a right to education, you have a right to shelter, you have a right to a good and decent job, you know, you have to right to freedom from security, from fear. So these are all kinds of rights which have been provided by both the laws of Nigeria and the international human treaties to which Nigeria is also a party. Having said that, I can say that the enjoyment of human rights in Nigeria is protected by law. However, in reality, there are violations of human rights. Of course, there's no country in the world where there are no violations of human rights. And that is the reason why it is provided for in the Constitution. That is why establishments like the National Human Rights Commission are provided for. That is why government agencies like NIPSS, like the police, like the military, like Ministry of Justice are provided for to guard against the violation of rights. So you can see what is happening because of the conflict situation in several parts of the country. You have Boko Haram, which is an insurgent group operating in the northern part of Nigeria that has made life and property very, very unsafe in that area. You know of banditry in some parts of the Northwest. You've heard about the Hada Summers clashes where in Benue axis, Plateau axis, you know, people can no longer go to farms, people can no longer live in their homes. They're attacked by Hadas and people are killed. You know of the Southeast where unknown gunmen, kidnappers. In fact, kidnapping is all over the country now. Even in Abuja, where we live, it's no longer safe. Every day you hear this happened in Buhari today, this happened in Wuse tomorrow, the other one happened in Lokogoma the other day. So you have this sense of insecurity, you have this sense of threat. to life. You have this sense of violence all over the place. And all these are human rights issues. So I can tell you that human rights is an issue in Nigeria, and people are quite afraid, not knowing what's going to happen to them the next minute. We've carried immense, awareness creation problems about violations of human rights. Right now, the National Human Rights Commission receives about 2 million complaints on human rights violation every year. This is quite huge, and partly because of the conflict all over the country. Violations are committed in hundreds of thousands of people. People are affected massively. Uh, the law enforcement agents are struggling to cope with the situation. A lot of people are, suggesting state police, for instance. A lot of vigilantes are turning up here and there, all to see whether there can be synergy of efforts to cope with the avalanche of the conflict situation to minimize human rights violations. The NSAS protest of 2020, which was also a response to violation of human rights by law enforcement agents. So all across the board, I can say we are struggling to make sure that everybody's right is protected in the country.
Thank you so much. Now, let's talk about policies surrounding IDPs, migrants, refugees, and asylum seekers. Now, what are the strengths and weaknesses of these policies?
Well, there are quite a lot of policies in place to provide protection, assistance, and durable solution to um, IDPs, asylum seekers, refugees, and so on and so forth. You would have known about the national policy on internally displaced persons, which was adopted in 2021. The policy was meant to galvanize action to address challenges of internal displacement and also deal with the plight of displaced population as a result of conflicts uh, that are happening in several parts of the country, including disasters and other causes also. And it contains strategies for the achievement of durable solutions for displaced populations, with the objective of ensuring that no longer should there be, so that there'll be specific assistance and protection needs of these groups will be, taken care of. And also informed decisions will be taken as to issues concerning their voluntary return to their places of origin. Also, we have the National Migration Policy of 2015, and also there's also a plan of action for the migration policy, which came up in 2019 to 2023. And the policy and its implementation provide an appropriate legal framework for monitoring and regulating internal migration as well as international migration. And also they make for proper collation and the dissemination of migration data. You can agree with me that data is very, very critical to manage migration issues. And also it serves as a reference document to guide all stakeholders in migration management. It is channeled towards the advancement and protection of human rights of Nigerians, both within and outside the country as well. We also have the National Contingency Plan, which is a document put in place to coordinate and respond effectively to emergencies, mitigate their impact, and prepare for response should this occur. The strength of these policies is that they comply with universal standards regarding the right of IDPs, asylum seekers, and migrants. For instance, the national policy on IDPs is essential and it has inspired Nigerians' international human rights and humanitarian law obligations. And these are contained in human rights treaties to which Nigeria is a party. And in particular, the policy encapsulates most of the provisions of the African Union Convention for the Protection and Assistance of Internally Displaced Persons, which is the Kampala Convention, So it helps to meet up our international obligations. And furthermore, the national policy on IDPs does not, though it does not have an action plan, but these policies have a matrix that assigns lead and support roles to all stakeholders that have mandate to deal with the rights of IDPs, migrants, and asylum seekers. In terms of the weaknesses, majority of the citizenry and persons in Nigeria are not fully aware of these policies, including the IDPs themselves. Furthermore, financial backing for the implementation of these policies is weak. Either they are not adequate or not even available at all. And this has placed additional burden on development partners to intervene in making sure that these policies and action plans are implemented. Another weakness of these policies is that although the national policy on IDP encapsulates provisions of the Kampala Convention, the non-domestication of the Kampala Convention remains a very serious challenge. And this is because Section 12 of our Constitution, the 1990 Constitution, provides that any treaty to which Nigeria is a party must be domesticated before its provisions can be applicable in Nigeria. And its enforcement also within the whims and caprices of the executive arm of government. So these are all the weaknesses and challenges we can encounter in this existing national policies.
Okay, now, how effective are these policies on this group of people? And how is your commission handling the implementation of these policies?
Okay, for us, the policies have been effective in the area of roles that are assigned to stakeholders. Like I said, these policies have identified key stakeholders who are going to play certain roles. For instance, the NHRC, under the National Contingency Plan, it assigns the duty of protection to the Commission as the lead agency. Also, if you go to national policy on IDPs, the coordination matrix also assigns the lead role on protection to the National Human Rights Commission. So that is very clear. At least it has identified who should do what, which is a major milestone. Now, the Commission is empowered to liaise and cooperate with local and international organizations on human rights with the purpose of advancing human rights. And in this regard, the Commission collaborates with stakeholders, including the National Commission for Refugees, Migrants, and entirely displaced persons, civil society as well, and faith-based organizations to promote and protect the rights of IDPs, as well as that of asylum seekers and migrants. However, in specific terms, we are collaborating with the Office of the United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees to also implement the policy on IDPs. And also, we have a monitoring project for internally displaced persons in the Northeast. And we have people stationed there in Adamawa, in Borno and Yobe, who on daily basis monitor IDP camps and also look into protection needs. As we monitor these IDP camps, we make sure that the international human rights and laws and tenets are kept. And we look at such specific issues as sexual and gender-based violence against the IDPs. We look at the issues on unaccompanied children. We look at the issue of children and household leads. We look at the issue of confiscation of properties of IDPs and their exploitation by law enforcement agents as well. Okay. Now, we have also established what we call a sexual and gender-based violence prevention and intervention mechanism in the camps, because these are some of the areas that IDPs need protection. And we follow up referral pathways that we have created, where we have trained personnel of ministries, departments, and agencies to protect the human rights of both asylum seekers, migrants, and internally displaced persons. Okay. We also train law enforcement agents like the military, like the police, on how to mainstream human rights into counterinsurgency operations so that the rights of migrants and IDPs are protected along the line. And we also collate and publish monthly reports on humanitarian situation in the Northeast. And through this, we try to highlight some of the issues we find on ground to guide stakeholders in both advocacy and intervention, all geared towards making sure that issues concerning the protection rights of migrants, asylum seekers, refugees, and internal displaced persons are handled as the whole of a government approach, and I think we have made some substantial progress in that area.
Okay, now, Barrister Ojukwu, would you advocate for a review of existing policies?
I will always support review of existing policies, because most policies have to be reviewed after a particular period, mostly 4 to 5 years. And because things change every day. In policies are meant to guide interventions. And if through interventions you've succeeded in dealing with the protection issue, you want to focus on another area to make progress. It is instructive to note that the migration policy of 2015, which came into being, before the adoption of the Global Compact on Migration, you will agree with me that with the Global Compact on safe, orderly, and regular migration, now you need to revisit that. Also, the Global Compact on refugees, which was also adopted by the heads of government in 2018. All these would require that we review those policies to incorporate the new and emerging issues. So I would solely support the review of these policies.
Okay. Now, what is the level of priority the Commission or your Commission accords issues around complaints brought before it that centers on the rights of this group of people that we're talking about?
The Commission honestly prioritizes issues concerning IDPs, migrant workers, asylum seekers, and refugees. And it is because of the priority we give them that we have created what we call a vulnerable groups department. And this vulnerable groups department deals solely with issues concerning this group. And so we have a complaint treatment mechanism, which is a mechanism that deals with complaints arising from these areas. So we have created this department, and we have a standard operating procedure, which enables the Commission to deal with under its standing orders and rules of procedure, so that complaints of people who are affected in these areas, when they come, will have a specialized department that attends to them. And the priority we give to these complaints around this is on account of their vulnerabilities, because being vulnerable people, they need more attention for issues concerning them to be dealt with. And some of the protection needs which you come across is issues of access to education, for instance, for people who are displaced. You can find out that maybe the children did not come with the last school result, because when you are in that kind of situation, the mother will not remember to come with the last result of the class the year has passed. So it becomes a problem that if you are finding school for the young boy or girl in a new place, you have to use other means to identify the class where the child has to start. Maybe you have to do a kind of test for that child to see if he says he stopped at primary 4. Maybe you have to do a test. You will not be asking for the last result because somebody who is fleeing would not have come with the last result. So these are the kind of issues that arise. And the issue of right to food, issue of shelter, of course, displaced persons need food and shelter and other things like wash. And then clean water and sanitation. These are all protection issues. And they also need justice, access to justice, because at times their rights are sexual and reproductive rights are violated. They are met with sexual and gender-based violence. So you need to be able to help them to access justice. So we have this dedicated department that work with both with civil society and other government departments to make sure we provide necessary interventions in the event of human rights violation of any of this population.
All right. Thank you for that insight. Now, considering the voluminous issues around human rights, how has your commission coped and also increased accessibility for the people in need through the establishment of state offices?
Before, we had offices in about 23 states, but now we had to move to establish office in all the 36 states, because what justification will you have to provide some people in some states access to Human Rights Commission where they can lay their complaints, and then other states will not have? And this was also to be able to open up the reach of Nigerians in all the 36 states to the services of the commission. And the offices are mandated to conduct routine visits to IDP camps and also to refugee, to host communities where the affected population are staying, and look at their protection needs and render reports, render support to them as well. However, given the state of human rights violations and its implications in the country, the Commission advocates that you should be able to have offices in all the 774 local government areas. However, for now, we're only in the 36 states, where we try to reach out to all the communities within the states to provide them with our services. We have also established a toll-free number, 6472. That toll-free number means that 6472, that toll-free number, make sure that anybody in any part of the country, in any local government where they can get internet service, can report a complaint of human rights violation. Since we are not in the 774 local government areas, so we urge any migrant or any IDP or any asylum seeker or any refugee who has problem in any part of Nigeria to use those facilities and reach out to us. We'll come out and get to the person. So these are all efforts we are making to make sure that all Nigerians and all affected population like asylum seekers, IDPs, and so on and so forth can reach the Commission for assistance.
Okay. Thank you so much, Barrister Ojukwu. Really appreciate your commendation. We look forward to doing more work with you. Now, your organization has undergone several reforms since inception and has equally adopted the Rapid Institutional Assessment, that's the RIA model or tool to fast-track performance and development. How useful or impactful has it been since 2017?
Well, for instance, we have a department which we call the Monitoring Department of the Commission. And the Monitoring Department has the role of monitoring the international obligations of Nigeria and also reporting on that. Things like the UPR, Universal Periodic Review, will make sure that Nigeria's Universal Periodic Review is well conducted, and will also mainstream the rights of this affected population into country reporting, into the UPR reporting for Nigeria. And there are a lot of treaty obligations which we must remind the government to fulfill these international treaty obligations. And in compiling these reports, we make sure that the interests, the concerns, the needs of migrants, asylum seekers, refugee, and IDPs are mainstreamed into these reports. And we also have a collaboration with the National Bureau of Statistics. And the essence of that is to make sure that the data and indices for collection of data now include human rights considerations. And those human rights considerations will mean that the interests of all these affected groups like migrants, IDPs, and asylum seekers are all incorporated. Now, we also work with the National Commission for Refugees and in conducting the project which we have in the Northeast, where we have 40 monitors who are deployed to the field and also working with the Protection Action Group to make sure that things relating to asylum seekers, IDPs, and refugees comply with the international best practices.
Okay, now, how has the free movement agreement among ECOWAS member countries impacted on your commission through the increase in migrants and refugees?
The free movement has its positive and negative sides. For instance, the persons from respective ECOWAS countries are able to cross either country for safety reasons without much problems. Furthermore, in terms of trade and commerce, persons are able to freely move their goods and services. The negative aspect is in respect of the northwest of Nigeria that the avenue for strengthening insurgency groups are increasing as a result of ability to just cross the border. And this has impacted on the work of the Commission as it deals with the promotion and protection of refugees and migrants, and also the issues of free movement means that people, cattle and things like that can move. You can see that most of the complaints about harder summer clashes have been that these are not the usual herders and that we used to know, that we have been living with all the years, and there has been no quarrel between the communities. That these aggressive herders who are sacking communities will be herders that have crossed the borders under the ECOWAS free movement of goods and services. And this has added to more job for the Commission in trying to deal with the issues around conflicts in the country.
Okay. Now, does your Commission have strong strategic partnerships for effective financial resource management, considering the heavy demands on the lean resources?
Yeah, the Commission has very lean financial resources to do our work. However, the efforts we have made have been to discuss with the National Assembly to provide for the Human Rights Fund in the law establishing the Commission. And this law provides that the Human Rights Fund is supposed to be contributed to by key stakeholders, government at the federal level, state level, and local government level, as well as major companies that doing business and having profits of more than 1 billion naira a year, and they're supposed to contribute to this fund. However, it was not signed by the last administration. We're hoping to go back to Parliament to see whether we can sign this law and to resource the Commission. So essentially now, we have some good partnership with some development partners who are supporting us in most of our activities, and that is how we are, trying to make up for the lean financial resources we have to do our work. Because to really do human rights work across all the 36 states of this country is not easy.
Then finally, sir, what would be your recommendations to relevant stakeholders on policies concerning IDPs, asylum seekers, and migrants?
We want a strong human rights-based migration governance and a global and at both the global and national levels, which is an important consideration that will ensure the promotion and protection of human rights in Nigeria, especially the right of IDPs, asylum seekers, and migrant workers. And I will recommend that there should be regular engagement among all stakeholders, including governments, humanitarian agencies, and host communities, to bring durable solutions to IDPs, asylum seekers, and migrants and refugees. I would be recommending that government should make funds available in order to effectively implement the policies on IDPs, asylum seekers, and migrants. And there is need to strengthen efforts to domesticate the Kampala Convention. The domestication of the Kampala Convention in Nigeria is very, very important.
Many thanks, Barrister Tony Ojukwu, Executive Secretary, National Human Rights Commission. Thank you for sharing your thoughts with us. We're indeed very grateful.
Thank you very much, Lydia.
God bless you.
The reason why most of the Nigerians are not aware of their rights, or they are aware and they cannot do anything about it. So it looks as if they are not aware. If you are aware of something and you cannot do anything about it, it's as good as you are not aware. It's because most of the laws in Nigeria are created only for the common man. So if the government will want Nigerians to stand up for their right and be aware of their human rights as citizens of the country, whatever laws that is being created in the country should be obeyed by everybody, beginning from the presidency down to the least person. So that one will be the number one awareness. If the common man will see how the government obey one rule or the other that is being instituted in our constitution, then at that time they will now know, the person that don't know his right will now know that this is my right, and government are also obeying it. Government is working on it. That is to say, it's an awareness for him to stand up to his own right, the right that he knows he should stand to it. Then there are other awareness also that they can do, like government agencies treating their workers like those things that are supposed to be provided in their own respective government agencies. If those that are in the helm of affairs there are obeying it as supposed, not creating law for some part of people and some part of people, the law, they are like above the law in that area.
There are other things coming from the international community where people don't really understand how these things work together. But I think it's something to look at: the right of children and the right to live, not just to breathe but to enjoy life and to enjoy everything. I think this is our God-given right, and we need to see that happening in the economy, in the society, and even in our politics.
Human rights is the awareness is really low because people don't know that they have rights, you know. So I think there needs to be more advocacy on human rights.
To some extent, yes, no. Yes, we know we are citizens and we live in a country we deserve to live, but to be honest, we are surviving, and there are things that when the masses voice out, I don't think they are being listened, and the government pressurize them to some extent. Yes, there is a balance between like the right of an individual to speak whatever he wants, and also there is the rule that say, oh, you need to know what to say, not to trample on other people's rights and privacy. But I don't think Nigerians are really enjoying that to the full extent where they will say, oh, I'm enjoying my rights, because poverty is also something that denies our rights, and you can just see that reality.
The way we are looking at this human rights issue is like an NGO thing. I mean, if it should be established like a ministry and being governed to the people, I think it will get to the roots. Yeah.
When you talk of human rights, the human rights is only known within the elites. The elites are the only ones that knows the human right. Most especially when you go to some interiors, you discover that they don't know exactly what is happening in Nigeria. And what mostly they know is the issue of this bandits, headers, and all whatnot. Apart from that, they are only concerned with their farming activities and the rest of them. And it's like most of them are not being protected simply because the people living in the rural areas, they don't get protected.
I think more than 80% or 90% of Nigerians don't know their rights, because you see a lot of things happening, even with the report of the, Amnesty International, it is clear, so even the common man, doesn't know his rights. So there's need for government to be proactive in this area so that, sensitization will be done through a national orientation agency. They can create awareness so that people will know their rights in different aspects of their life, so that they can be able to defend their rights.
Like majority of Nigerians know their rights, but I think the problem we are having is respecting the rights. I know my rights, but you as a person, do you respect my rights? As the popular saying goes, that where your rights stop, that is where my own begin. But then do I respect your right? Do you respect my own? That is where the problem is. And then how do we address the problem? What is the solution? We have an agency called the National Orientation Agency. That is where their work coming. They sit in the office. What are they doing? They are supposed to be enlightening the citizens, the population, about some of these things happening in the country, about the human rights. At least go out there, tell the people, at least the people that are supposed to maintain the rights, tell them that this is the right of a citizen. Can you respect this right? Enlighten them. That is their work. That is why they call them orientation agency. But are they really doing the work? That is the problem.
Actually, when you are poor, I don't think you want to know what human rights all about or your rights all about. All you struggle to get is what to eat. Whether your right has been trampled upon, to start with, you need to go and report to the police. And if you don't have money, the police will not even listen to you in the first place. So even when you know your rights, the process of enforcing your rights to you is too cumbersome. So that's why many people will just let go, even when their right has been trampled upon. So most Nigerians, they know their rights, but the process of getting justice for what has been done to them is too cumbersome. So at the end of the day, they let go.
Government should use some machineries that will reach to the people in the rural areas. You discover that should have been our right for us to know, but there are machineries that government would have used to enable all of us to be aware of what is happening and what human rights is all about. The government itself is aware that the people in the rural areas are not much aware of their human rights. So it is basically the function of the government in order to create awareness to the people so that we should all live equal.
Okay, to enforce human rights in Nigeria is number one, what the government should do. Before the advent of the white men coming into Nigeria, we settle our things amicably in village cycles. But you understand, they should empower the traditional Meangwas in different Angwa, village head and whatsoever. When there's an issue of abuse of human rights, these people should sit them down and try to find out what has happened and try to settle these things amicably within the community before it will escalate elsewhere.
Keep watching.
Keep watching.
Keep watching NIPSS Policy TV.
A lot of people want to come into NIPSS.
Not everybody can make it, but for those who are selected and come in here, just know this, you make a difference. Once you go out there, please just continue pushing what you have. Don't listen to the fact that you're elitist. Just listen to the fact that you make a difference and go out there and make that difference.
You cannot build a better society if you don't take care of the senior citizens. And you can't build a better society if you don't take care of the junior citizens, the younger ones that are coming.
Hello and thanks for joining us on Alumni Chat. I am Chana Ejoga. Today we have a very interesting personality on our chat, and she is none other than Professor Ibiyemi Olatunji Bello Emena. She is a Nigerian academic, a professor of physiology, and the 9th Vice Chancellor of Lagos State University. Starting her career, she served as an assistant lecturer at the College of Medicine, University of Lagos, and rose through the ranks, eventually becoming a professor of physiology at Lagos State University College of Medicine in 2007. She served as the Deputy Vice Chancellor of Lagos State University, LASU, in 2008. She also served as the Acting Vice Chancellor of Lagos State University in 2010 to 2011. In 2021, she was appointed as the 9th Substantive Vice Chancellor of the Lagos State University. She also attended the National Institute for Policy and Strategic Studies NIPSS School, Sec 34, where she bagged the prestigious certification of member of the National Institute. Recently, she was also conferred with the National Productivity Order of Merit Award by the immediate past President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. It's good to have you on the chat, Professor.
Thank you, Chana.
Can you tell us what was your experience? What brought about you coming to the National Institute?
Well, after serving as the acting vice chancellor, I developed a very good relationship with the NUC, National Universities Commission, and the executive secretary there was Professor Julius Okoji. Thought that because I was not appointed as the vice chancellor, I should come over to NIPSS. I was ready to sponsor. So that was how I got to NIPSS. I was sponsored by AUC to attend NIPSS, representing the entire university system for that year.
Okay. So can you tell us what was your experience while you were at the National Institute?
Right. That's one thing, the institute that I'll never forget.
Yeah.
Number one, we had 3-course meals. We were well fed, we were overfed. This day, 3-course meal, morning, lunch, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And then we also you met the cream de la cream of the nation there, and from the military down to public officers and so on. So the relationship there, we bonded very well.
Yeah.
We were allocated 3-bedroom flats with just one person in 3-bedroom flats. And we lived like not as if we went to school, but as if we were in our homes and we were well taken care of. And that's one experience. And the other experience is we traveled. We were divided into different study groups, and our group traveled to within Nigeria. We were taken to Delta State and Kwara. We studied Kwara State. We studied Delta. So I virtually know everything about Kwara and everything about Delta, especially all the resources, the way they manage the resources, the best, all their talents there, and so on. That was where I knew that in Kwara, they used to have mass wedding.
Oh, really? I'm just hearing about it
Oh,
too.
yes. Mass wedding.
Mass wedding.
Yes.
and it's something that they celebrate, you know.
Okay.
And then we went to Delta, we went to the Niger Delta Commission and so on. I don't want to go into that. That's for Nigeria.
Okay.
And then for the the Africa region, we were supposed to go to Mauritius, but at the last minute we were turned down, so we resorted to Niger Republic.
Okay.
But in Niger Republic, we went to Agadez, and we saw the refinery. That yes, Nigeria, they have a refinery there.
Can you tell me, how has this experience impacted on your person and in your career?
Well, number one, on my career, it has impacted well, brilliantly. Because in NIPSS, my project was on LASSO
Okay.
as a case study.
Wow.
The incessant strikes. So it made me study LASSO. And because I studied LASSO, I was able to discover the reasons why there was this, the unions go on strike, they agitate and so on. And my recommendations are now being used.
Wow,
here.
that's awesome.
And that's why I'm very proud to say we have a peace here in this university. And it's not a peace of the graveyard, but peace that everybody is happy.
What's your philosophy about life?
My philosophy in life is never give up. Try. If at once you don't succeed, try until you succeed. A winner never quits, and a quitter never wins.
A winner never quits, and a quitter never wins. You are part of the alumnus. You are part of the Alumnus Association of the National Institute.
Yes.
Now, can you tell me, how has this group, people actually see it as an elitist group. What's your take on that?
Well, people see us as elites, but they also see us as if we are in a particular group, a caucus or something like that, that they said you cannot penetrate. And that is an for you. Once you bonded, you've gone through that school, no matter what, you are still the same. And it's because we go there at the highest level. You relate with everybody at the highest level. And that's why they refer to us as elites. I can go anywhere and mention my name, and yes, I put MNI, you expect respect. That they'll accord that respect. That you are an MNI, then you are elite.
Okay. Ma, it's good to have you on the program, and we're grateful that you were able to give us your time. Thank you so much.
It's nice having you too. Thank you.
Yes.
Towards a better society.
Yes.
We'll get there.
Amen. This is all we have on Alumni Chat. I am Chana Ijoga. Now we will get back for more on the program. Stay with us.
We have been able to convey the opinion of our guest on the program to you on the topic. However, experts are calling on National Human Rights Commission to stand firm and defend most of human rights issues in Nigeria. This is all we can take on the program today. Thank you for watching and thank you for your time. I am Lydia Odijiochi. See you next time on the program. Goodbye.